We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. California Senator Scott Wiener left San Francisco's trans march after alleged harassment and intimidation. LGBTQ plus organizations and elected officials condemned the incident, warning of growing political violence and anti-Semitism targeting LGBTQ plus leaders.
Ohio pastor Silas Shelton, who opposed LGBTQ books and pride flags, received a 15-year prison sentence after pleading guilty to unlawful sexual conduct with a 14-year-old church attendee.
Red, white, and royal wedding promises more romance, domestic moments, and hotter intimacy as Alex and Prince Henry's love story continues. Taylor Zacher Perez and Nicholas Galitzine return for the sequel.
Fox News host Jesse Waters sparked backlash after saying bisexual women are weird and untrustworthy. He is discussing the new film Supergirl.
The United Methodist Church removed Asbury Theological Seminary from its approved clergy schools after the seminary rejected the denomination's LGBTQ inclusive teachings, while protecting current students' path toward ordination. All this important LGBTQ plus news and a whole lot more this evening on Queer News Tonight. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified the Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 12 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida. We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in our rainbow family. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
That's right, Bri. It is Monday, June 29th. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBTQ community. Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our community. We want to inform and educate on the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Happening Out South Florida. In 2026, our magazine is celebrating 41 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 14,000 LGBTQ television stories. We present South Florida's major LGBTQ events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, and Pride Fete. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
This year, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this very table and share their voice as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ communities. Let's meet this evening's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome back to the table anchor Edward Otto Zielke, an accomplished brand influencer and marketing leader with a dynamic background in financial services and travel marketing. Edward currently serves as the director of marketing and sponsorship for the world-famous Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida. He also serves on the Gala Chorus's Communications Committee. Welcome back to the show, Edward. So I hear that you have 2 minutes off.
Just only 2.
Only 2 minutes until you have to start letting us know about season 17, all right?
Yeah.
So what are you using those 2 minutes for these days?
I'm getting a lot of rest, and I'm getting a lot of, especially over the weekend. It was nice just to have the weekend just to decompress. You know, we just came out of a Pride concert that was very historic in the ways of so many people came and saw it, more than I had anticipated, the organization had anticipated. So it took a lot of work, and you know, and it's been a very, very heavy month for me too. I also lost a family member, a cousin, but I also got to experience Pride in a different city. You know, I went to my hometown, you know, to deal with my cousin's arrangements.
What is your hometown?
Oh, I'm sorry, Livingston, New Jersey.
Okay.
And so, yeah, as another, are you a Jersey?
I'm not a Jersey.
Oh, okay.
But I lived in East New York for a minute.
Yes. Okay. So
he has slept with Jersey people. Don't worry. Okay, go.
Yes.
Listen to her, but it's true.
But, you know, in honor of Pride Month, you know, I just love the fact that my own hometown nowadays has their own Pride Month. And that says a lot in terms of where we've come from, because back in the 1970s and 80s when I was growing up, there was none of it.
Yeah.
And just to see it on the high school football field and to see it marched around towns and go have a ceremony, it was just incredible.
So different than what happens here in Florida. We can't do anything on school property, you know, like things like, you know, gay related. So to have it on the high school football field.
It did feel like another country almost.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it just shows that, you know, with hard work, you know, what could possibly happen with us. And I still have faith for the state of Florida.
I love that. Yeah, we have to. We live here. We don't have a choice. Look, folks at home, make sure that you follow Edward Otto Zielke on Instagram. That's it. That's my favorite one to watch, okay? Because I've been stalking Edward for a while now. And when he was in Jersey, it was wonderful to just follow your experience with you. And you can tell how moved you were genuinely. It was like you had never been there before, and this is your hometown.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been back since about 15 years. Wow. So it literally was just an eye-opener. I mean, they were always, you know, New Jersey is a very liberal state, and so is the county that I grew up in. But, you know, as someone that comes from a predominantly Republican family, sometimes that was very hard to see growing up.
You got to come from somewhere.
Exactly. And so, you know what, now it's kind of, you know, it's taken on, and even the hospitals that are there too have LGBTQ plus wings that are funded so well. And where I was seeing my cousin in his final days. So
that's
it was amazing. So, but thank you. But like I've decompressed from all of that. So this weekend I just got to relax and just not think of anything. So.
Okay. Next Monday when he's back on the show, he's going to be like, let's talk about the chic and unique ball. Well, Edward, you know that you are one of my favorite people to work with, so I always enjoy having you here at the table.
Well, this is one of my favorite places to be, so thank you both.
All right. Well, thank you, Edward, for being here at the table at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome back to the table anchor Brian Bender. Brian is a true South Florida local. He's an educator, a community leader, and a strong voice in education, history, and public policy. He teaches in Broward County Public Schools, holds a bachelor and master's degree in education and a postgraduate degree in leadership, and serves on the Fort Lauderdale Education Advisory Board. Brian, welcome back to the show, my boo.
I'm so shy. Oh my goodness. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. It is amazing, as always, to be here at the round table.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to chat with you all.
Well, and you know, you're an educator. You're an incredible advocate. I love what you do and help our community with. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And the first thing I do when I sit at this table with you is, when are we going to see you dance again?
I know. It's so
he does so much more, okay?
I love to do Zumba. I like to say I have some rhythm. I don't want to, you know, boast about myself. I want to be modest and humble. I do wear the shorty shorts, but I am modest and humble. And I like to just groove it. So thank you so much for asking about it. And probably tomorrow I'll be posting a new video on my Instagram.
Yay! See, I pushed him into it. Yay! I didn't mean to push you into it.
Okay.
I did mean to push him into it. All right. Brian, thank you so much for being here at the table, back at Queer News Tonight.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, FayWhat. She is legendary events host, television and radio personality, and the host of Hotspots Happening Out's The FayWhat Show. Faye, Charity Sunset Tea Dance Cruise sets sail in Fort Lauderdale on July 4th. Tell us what's happening out.
I can't wait, all right? Celebrate Independence Day on the water at the Charity Sunset Tea Dance Cruise on Saturday, July 4th, 2026 in Fort Lauderdale, hosted by SunServe and the Bears of South Florida. Grrr! This annual fundraiser features music, dancing, stunning sunset views, and a fireworks display. Don't try to do that yourself, all right? Leave it to the professionals. Leave it to us that we get to watch it from that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful ship, okay? So these incredible fireworks are are going to be right over the intercoastal waterway, and there is no better place to see these than on a boat. The evening begins with a pre-party from 5:30 to 6:30, boarding at 6:45, and the cruise from 7 to 10. Departures are from Boat Camper Sports Bar and Grill. VIP open bar and general admission tickets are both available, and proceeds support LGBTQ plus health, wellness, and community programs. Learn more at sunserve.lgbt. You know, it's time for 4th of July. It's time to have a great time. And I, for one, like, okay, oh, do you want to go to the beach? No, I don't want to go to the beach and be surrounded by a ton of people, right? Or I can't find parking or all of that. Like, they're literally, for this cruise, they have it all taken care of. Pay once, you get your drinks taken care of. There'll be food on board. You get to support two incredible charities, the Bears of South Florida and Sunserve. And my favorite, the fireworks. Like, it's all about the fireworks. And if you've never seen the fireworks from the Fort Lauderdale waterway, right? The new river, like, it's just incredible. You've got like your VIP up close and personal ability to see these fireworks. It really gets no better. And I honestly cannot wait. It's going to be a great time.
And Boat Campers is so accessible, you know, for the people that maybe have never been there before. It's just on the other side of the bridge on Oakland Park. You take an Uber over there or a Lyft. You don't even have to drive. Super easy, super chill. You have your drinks. You have your Faye. You have the Sunserve. You have the Bears of Fort Lauderdale. I mean, what more do you really need? I mean, like, God bless America.
God bless America, you know, and it's the Bears of South Florida, who I adore, and it's Sunserve. You know, my brother Tony Lima always has something up his sleeve. He hasn't told me what the entertainment is. All right. Okay. So I guess we'll have to be on the boat to find out, right? Okay. Brian is like, what else does Tony have up his sleeve? Right?
Like, oh no. Okay.
Get your tickets today at sunserve.lgbt, and we will see you then. I'm FayWhat, and let's queer up politics. Gay, Jewish, California lawmaker says he was harassed at San Francisco trans march. California State Senator Scott Wiener says he was harassed, threatened, and physically intimidated while attending San Francisco's trans march, forcing him to leave the annual event for the first time since it began in 2004. Wiener, an out gay Jewish Democrat representing San Francisco and a candidate to succeed retiring Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi, said a group surrounded him in Dolores Park as he headed to a trans-led Pride Shabbat service. Wiener wrote, quote, "Last night I attended the trans march, as I've done each year for the past 22 years since the first march in 2004. They made statements about my Israeli handlers, among many other inaccurate, extreme, and vile statements. They were so physically and verbally aggressive that it was impossible for me to safely remain in the park. I have no objection whatsoever to anyone disagreeing with me, opposing me, or protesting me. All of that is core to democracy. But when opposition and disagreement transition to harassment, including cornering me, touching me, or trying to physically bully me out of a public event, that crosses a line," end quote. The incident has drawn condemnation from elected officials and LGBTQ advocates, including the Human Rights Campaign and LGBTQ plus Victory Institute leaders, who warned about rising political intimidation and anti-Semitism targeting LGBTQ plus public officials. You know, you don't have to agree with Scott Wiener on everything to agree on one thing. Nobody should be bullied out of pride, and nobody should be touched without permission. You know, protest is protected. Physical intimidation isn't. If we're fighting hate, we can't become what we're fighting.
Right, exactly. And, you know, on both sides of the political spectrum, the extreme right and the extreme left have very similar tactics of trying to bully people. And the thing is you don't have to be pro-Israel. You don't have to agree with everything that the Israeli government does. It doesn't make you anti-Jewish, but what really hurts the community, the gay community, the queer community, the Jewish community, is when we can't have a diversity of opinions. And I understand that the people there say, you know, you can't be queer and support a genocide. He has come out publicly and said, and wrote on X, Twitter, whatever it's called, he's come out and said that he believes that what is happening in Gaza is a genocide. Whether or not you agree that it's a genocide or not, he has capitulated in a way to the people that want him to capitulate. So,
and what was that he didn't release that that rendering in time?
I think that's what it is. I think they the people on the left, or the people, you know, in the trans community, and in every community probably on the Democratic side, feels as though he wasn't forceful enough in his condemnation of what the Israeli government is doing in Gaza. And, you know, you could agree or disagree with that, but don't chase the guy out of a public event. I mean, I feel kind of bad for him. I mean, I feel bad for the children in Gaza as well.
Of course.
But I do want to say that I feel kind of bad for him. He's not a part of that. He's not dropping bombs on these people.
Right, and he's been going to this for the last 22 years.
I know.
You know, nobody has that kind of commitment to our community. You know what I mean? Like, God.
So it was just a little disheartening to me as a Jewish person. I don't want to play the Jewish card, but I do want to say that when I see a fellow Jew who has been so good to the LGBTQ plus community being chased out of an event, it kind of hurts my heart. And it also hurts my heart to see what's happening geopolitically in the world. So, you know, two things can be true at once. You don't always have to agree with everything the Israeli government is doing, but I also don't agree with what my side is doing in terms of the people that might not capitulate 100% in the time frame that they want them to.
But like you said, two things could be the same, could be
True
happening and true at once. And I think that that's what a lot of people are like. You know, I personally have friends that are afraid to say anything because they feel if they say something, automatically someone's going to say that they're being anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
You know, and so I mean, come on, that's awful when we all have so many incredible Jewish friends. Like, how are you going to not feel like you can talk to your friend?
Exactly. And I feel that we as Jewish people, or I as a Jewish person, have to do maybe a better job at allowing a diversity of opinions. You know, I don't think that everybody that has, a negative view about what Israel is doing in the Middle East, I don't think that that's Jew hatred. I think that, you know, you're an American or wherever you're from and you're looking at a foreign country who's doing certain things that maybe don't align with your values. It doesn't mean that you are anti-Jewish. I think what crosses a line is when people make ad hominem or against a person, personal attacks against somebody. I think that's when it crosses a line.
Yeah.
And I think what these people did by chasing him off, they didn't even allow him to speak. And I felt like he was so defeated. And this was, I think, the second or the third time.
So it's not even the first time.
He's been chased out.
You know,
of something.
and as gay people, for one, I'm triggered by that. You know what I mean? Growing up in a world where we're bullied, you know, from every angle, like we're doing that to our own people.
Right.
And to have your own community come after you like that is pretty scary and stuff. And especially for, you know, a lot of the things that you're believing in are the same, you know. So, yeah, you know, for me, you know, as someone that has their own ideas and stuff, if I'm standing in a crowd and something and people are coming at me, that's frightening.
Right. And you know, the thing is these were supposedly, I guess, Jewish people that were chasing off another Jewish person because it was a Shabbat service.
Yeah.
You know, so it's complicated. And, you know, I think a lot of Jewish people, such as I can only speak for myself, but a lot of Jewish people, I'm sure, are trying to navigate in a world where their gay or queer identity can also coincide with their Jewish identity as well. And it's a very fine line and a tightrope that you have to walk because Israel is becoming a litmus test on whether or not you're ideologically pure enough to be in the Democratic Party. And I will never vote Republican, but there are some people on the Democratic side that I think are so extreme. And it doesn't mean that I support everything that I see in Israel, but I also can't agree with, you know, from the river to the sea, no Jews there, you know, so it's complicated. And I'm sorry we live in a world where we have to make these, you know, negotiations. So
thank you for being you and sharing you. You know, if you have any more Jewish questions, relay them to Brian Bender. He will be at Instagram at Brian Bender.
Right. Brian_in_Wilton Manor. So all one word.
You'll find him. Okay. Ask him whatever.
Yeah.
I'm Edward Otto Zielke, and let's queer up faith. Ohio pastor who opposed Pride books sentenced to 15 years for sexual abuse of minor. An Ohio pastor who publicly campaigned against LGBTQ-themed books and pride flags has been sentenced to 15 years in prison after pleading guilty to unlawful sexual contact with a minor. Silas Shelton received the maximum sentence for sexually abusing a 14-year-old girl who attended his Blanchester Community Church. Judge Andrew McCoy said Shelton showed no remorse throughout the case and added, quote, "When you take absolutely no accountability for your actions, you demonstrate no remorse. You choose rather to blame the victim and incredulously claim that you were the victim of abuse at her home, a 14-year-old child," end quote. Shelton was originally charged with 12 counts, including rape, sexual battery, and gross sexual imposition. He ultimately pleaded guilty to 3 third-degree felony counts of unlawful sexual contact with a minor. After his release, he must register as a Tier 2 sex offender every 6 months for 25 years. Prosecutors said Shelton exploited the trust placed in him as the family's pastor. The victim told the court no sentence could restore what had been taken from her. Well, first, very applauding the survivor for, having the courage to stand up in the courtroom and address that. This guy, he's been yelling at like all these school board meetings a lot. He specifically targeted a book called Heartstopper, which he felt was a danger to children. And his actions actually influenced the Little Miami local school district to pause all book fairs because of his complaint. So it's actually come over here.
Yeah.
People who are weaponizing protecting children are against, it's a rallying cry against our community. Mm-hmm. And, the real harm is really what's happening, sometimes even in our own backyard.
Yeah. Listen, not a drag queen, not a trans person.
Right.
Okay. Period. This 14-year-old girl will never be the same. Do you understand that I am a survivor of sexual assault. Okay. And it took a lot of therapy and work to be able to work through that. And I'm still dealing with that right now, okay? A 14-year-old, and you're going to go and say that that you're the victim?
The height of narcissism, to turn it around on the victim and say that you were the victim in their home. Like, a 14-year-old doesn't assault a grown man.
They can't consent,
they can't consent to anything.
So it doesn't matter.
Right.
Absolutely.
And, positions like a pastor, they carry such an enormous burden of responsibility because you're supposed to be pastoring and your flock of people, and this causes such religious trauma. This causes, like what Faye was saying, dealing with the fallout and the repercussions of a life where, somebody has to be the victim to a grown man assaulting them. Like that's never okay. And what you said, I really do agree with you. It took such courage and such heart for this young lady to stand up and speak about the abuse in a courtroom. The thing that I was a little sad about or surprised about is that he has to register as a Tier 2 offender. I think he should be a Tier 1 asshole mother effer. And I think it shouldn't be every 25 years. I think he should be reminded of it every single day that he wakes up, that he does not deserve the same air that we all breathe. I'm not condoning violence against anybody, but I'm saying, God, I'm going to make a little prayer and please smite this guy, because it's awful. If you betray a child, that is like the worst thing that you could possibly do. And I think there should be no reprieve for him.
I hope that somebody makes him their bitch in prison. Ooh, okay? I mean, let's put it that way, okay? Because that doesn't necessarily have to be, maybe you like it, you know what I mean? Whatever it is. But, like his followers, his congregation, that little girl's friends, everybody around, he has literally just like annihilated any hope for those people to trust anybody in power in the future.
Absolutely. And in these weird kind of religious communities, I don't know what this community was like. Sometimes, if a pastor goes to jail for violating a child, they put it on the child even when the pastor goes to jail.
Yep.
So I hope she's not experiencing secondary guilt or violations after his, after his trial.
Oh, she has. She has.
I'm sure.
We can probably put a stamp on that.
Okay.
Brian. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, but like when it comes to the religious entities like that, the whole family's affected, right? Then the family's shunned for having the daughter that spoke up.
Right, exactly. And
at the end of the day, Epstein files.
And
all right?
What was she wearing? Did she make him believe? It's always, they always put it on the victim, and it's usually on a little girl and it's terrible. And it's down with the patriarchy. That's all I really want to say. So. I'm Brian Bender, and Let's Queer Up Entertainment. Casey McQuiston says Red, White, and Royal Wedding sequel will be spicier. Fans of Red, White, and Royal Blue can expect even more romance in the upcoming sequel. Author Casey McQuiston has revealed that Red, White, and Royal Wedding will take Alex and Prince Henry's relationship to a more intimate level. Speaking at Prime Video's Obsessed Fest, McQuiston said, quote, "I can tell you something. There's definitely more domesticity in this movie because, they're together now. I would say it's a couple degrees spicier than the first movie. The intimacy is kind of dialed up in a way that's really beautiful and really fun to watch, end quote. The sequel follows the next chapter in Alex and Henry's love story with Taylor Zacher Perez and Nicholas Galitzine, returning to reprise their roles. McQuiston is executive producing alongside returning producers Greg Berlanti and Sarah Schechter. The sequel was first announced in 2024 and is written by Matthew Lopez, Gemma Burgess, and McQuiston, with Jamie Babbitt directing. Production began in January and wrapped in March. A release date for the sequel has not yet been announced. Well, I think it's wonderful that they are doing this. I love to see queer romance on the screen, and I have to say, when I first saw this story, I said, could there be any more last names that I have to learn how to pronounce? So
that's what you got.
If I did not do a good job,
you did a great job.
Please put it in the comments because I might have mispronounced some people. But I want to say this looks really fun. I'm sorry that there's not a release date yet, but when there is, I definitely want to check it out.
Did you see Red, White, and Royal Blue?
I caught some little clips of it, and I thought it was very cute and sweet. So I definitely think if it's they dialed up the spiciness, let's do it.
I'm assuming this is like, a take on like the royal family.
Yes.
So
One is a son of the royal family in the UK as opposed to, and the other couple is from the States.
But that's great because we have storytelling around, like political people, possible, fiction type of stories that will actually, that transcend over different, people and organizations.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic.
Well, and the Red, White, and Royal Blue was just centered around like them dealing with international political stuff, right, within the families, right? So now we get to graduate to season 2, and they deserve romance and make me a cake and what do you eat for breakfast and that kind of stuff, right?
You're making me teary-eyed. That's what we all want.
I mean, and they're both super hot too.
Right.
So I hope that they take a sheet out of Heated Rivalry and
it sells.
without the hockey, who needs that? You know what I mean?
I'm Edward Otto Zielke, and let's queer up entertainment. Fox News host sparks backlash over comments about bisexual women. Fox host Jesse Waters is facing criticism after making comments about bisexual women while discussing Supergirl star Millie Alcock's remarks about her character's sexuality. Earlier this week, Alcock suggested that Kara Zor-El might go both ways, which delighted many queer fans. During a recent episode of The Five, Waters reacted to the new Supergirl film saying, quote, "No man will ever see this movie. But the whole bisexual thing, guys just don't get into that. Maybe that's cool when you're 18, but when a girl's bisexual, we just don't trust her. We don't trust her. And the ones I've met are super weird. So to say you're bisexual, it's not a turn on. It's not a turn on." End quote. His remarks quickly drew backlash, with critics calling the comments inappropriate and questioning his repeated focus on LGBTQ plus people's sexuality. Well, besides being completely ignorant.
Nobody's going to watch that girl on girl stuff. Come on. No one. No one.
Said the girly man behind the news desk.
But, it's very common for LGBTQ plus people to identify with some superheroes and as possibly, gay or bisexual and stuff. And so why not? It doesn't really matter anyway, regardless. So, I just think that this is just blatant ignorance on a Fox News MAGA.
Do you really think he believes this, though? I mean, even having you read this story, I'm like, he doesn't think that, does he?
I think he was just shooting the shit, for sure. And, Twitter had thoughts immediately, and I'm sure bisexual women were not seeking out Jesse Waters' approval about their lives and their choices.
I mean, imagine being so bothered by bisexual women when they weren't thinking about you, boo, in the first place, all right? Jesse, they're not trying to date you. And biphobia isn't edgy. It's tired, outdated, and says a whole lot more about you than it does about them.
I'm sure they'll survive his criticism, for sure. For sure. And, that he said that they don't trust, men just can't trust women that are bisexual. Well, then obviously you're not going to be in a relationship with a bisexual woman. So then move on. It's like they want, he lives in a certain kind of a mindset where women need to depend on men. And when women step out of that role and say, you know what, I could be happy without a man, that threatens his worldview and the way that he has built his identity of being, controlling women, because that's what they want to do. These people, the minute you say, I don't need no man, I don't need no stinking man, I'll go out and be with a woman, then it's like, oh shit, you didn't need me anymore. You never needed me. I think that's what he's getting at. Yeah. It's all about the patriarchy, really.
I'm FayWhat, and let's queer up faith. United Methodist Church drops Asbury Seminary over LGBTQ policy dispute. The United Methodist Church has removed Asbury Theological Seminary from its list of approved schools for preparing United Methodist clergy, citing differences over the denomination's updated teachings on LGBTQ inclusion. The decision follows the church's 2024 revision of its social principles, which removed language opposing same-sex marriage and what it previously called the practice of homosexuality. Asbury objected to those changes. The University Senate also removed Northeastern Seminary from its approved list after a regular review. Roland Fernandez, head of the United Methodist Board for Higher Education and Ministry, said, quote, "The University Senate's decision is intended to ensure that United Methodist candidates for ministry are formed in settings clearly aligned with United Methodist teachings, theology, leadership, and values," end quote. Current United Methodist students enrolled at Asbury through fall 2026 will still be eligible to complete their studies and pursue ordination. New clergy candidates beginning theological education after that must attend a United Methodist seminary or another approved institution. For decades, Asbury trained United Methodist clergy, but has also been a leading voice for theologically conservative positions on LGBTQ issues. Today, it is an approved seminary of the Global Methodist Church, which split from the United Methodist Church in 2022. So, this is what accountability looks like. If you're training clergy for an inclusive denomination, your teaching should reflect that inclusion. Faith can evolve. And for a lot of LGBTQ people, that's long, long, long overdue.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that we're having this conversation. It was a big hubbub and a big to-do back in 2022 when they voted to split, this, I think it's called the Global Methodist Church. It's not really, it's a lot of Methodist churches in Africa and in Asia, I believe, that decided to break off because they felt that the parishes in North America were becoming too socially liberal. And, like you said, Faye, faith continues to evolve. The theology continues to evolve. I'm happy that the students, though, the ones that are going there are going to be able to finish their instruction and are going to be able to be ordained in the Methodist Church, because obviously if you're going to a theological seminary, it's because you want to be a pastor or work in the church. So I'm glad that they're going to be able to continue their studies, and anybody that comes afterward is going to have to go to a different school and attend different trainings. So, and I'm sure the ones that do graduate from this seminary are going to have to take some extra courses once they graduate in order to be eligible to work in a certain church or in a certain parish, in order to get them more in line with what the current theological stance is here in North America.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
LGBTQ 1-minute news. Let's queer up the worldview. Turkey cracks down on Istanbul pride, detains dozens. Turkish police detained at least 50 people, including a journalist, during an LGBTQ plus pride event in Istanbul on Sunday, after participants gathered despite a government ban. Authorities blocked access to key areas, increased security, and restricted subway service in central parts of the city. The Turkish Journalists Union said that journalists were among those detained. Protesters vowed to continue demonstrating, chanting, quote, "My love, today isn't over yet. In fact, we're just getting started. We're not giving up. We'll keep taking to the streets from every corner we're in." End quote. Homosexuality is legal in Turkey, but pride marches have been routinely banned since 2015. So every pride march we celebrate in freedom should remind us of those who can't. Okay, 50 people detained just for showing up. That's exactly why Pride is still a protest around the world. Still today, Today, tomorrow's the last day of Pride. Yeah. And we should definitely continue that no matter what. And it doesn't have to be just June for you to do that.
It echoes all of the, stuff we went through at Stonewall too. You know, people got arrested, people got hurt and stuff. And so, you know, you just see the full spectrum of the world in terms of where the LGBTQ plus views are and stuff. And so, you know, some countries like Turkey, they still have a lot of work to do.
You know, their president or prime minister, I think it's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is actually, he aligns with, you know, a lot of the Islamist factions in the country. And when he first ascended to the presidency, I believe about 15 years ago, since the crackdown, his wife never would cover her hair. And in order to appeal to the more conservative constituents in his country, he had his wife cover her hair. Oh, wow. He's taken more conservative social views. And it's very much like what in Viktor Orban's Hungary, where it was the promotion of homosexuality. You could be homosexual, but don't show it on the street. You can't have, you know, don't hold hands, don't kiss, don't do this, don't do that. They want to really drive gay people underground. And they really, if they had their way, they wouldn't exist at all, but they have to accommodate in some way, especially because Turkey is part of NATO and they need to appeal to certain European standards of ethical practices. But it's a very complicated situation there because you're straddling both worlds. You got one foot in Europe and you have one foot in the Middle East, and things just don't fly in the Middle East like they do in Europe. So it's a tightrope that they're walking there.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up sports. Argentina's giant Messi statue has the internet talking. A towering 80-foot statue of soccer legend Lionel Messi has been unveiled in Argentina's Patagonia region to celebrate his 39th birthday. But instead of just honoring the World Cup champion, the monument is drawing viral attention for its unusual design. The statue shows Messi in a knee slide celebration with a trophy between his thighs, prompting widespread reactions online. One Twitter said, quote, "This angle and position is definitely a choice," end quote. Another asked, "Where are my pants?" The new monument now holds the title of the world's largest statue of a soccer player, surpassing a 70-foot Messi statue in Calcutta, India, which has recently ordered removal after officials said it was unsafe. Well, speaking as the gays, I think we definitely appreciate the artistry of all of this wonderful statue. But yes, that's quite a very impressive,
from
large...
the front and the back.
I mean, listen, I'm not a Messi fan. Don't kill me, please. Okay, I'm not a Messi fan, especially, right now we're doing FIFA. And if Argentina has to play Colombia, I'm going to be super mad. So I'm not a big fan of Messi right now. But let's say that sculpture it's definitely something to talk about, all right? Like with the trophy in between his legs, it looks like a member.
It was a choice. It like they said in the story. It's definitely a choice. And I think if they want to make it more appropriate, I think all they need to do is remove that trophy and put it in his hand, you know? Yeah. It was like literally like that's all they needed to really. I mean, I don't think overall it's like a really great work of art, but make it a little more appropriate for the kids.
Yes, it's interpretive.
And you know that sculptor or whatever, the artist that put it together is laughing his ass off somewhere. I mean, come on.
Maybe he had a crush on Messi, and that's like the position. Well, anyway, I don't want to get into
Well, that's what art does. It gets you talking.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up the USA View. Boise neighbors raise hundreds of pride flags despite Idaho government ban. Residents of Boise, Idaho are responding to the state's ban on pride flags on government property by displaying them across their neighborhoods. A grassroots group, Pride North End, has distributed more than 250 pride flags and 900 yard signs to residents willing to show their support. A GoFundMe campaign that originally sought $2,000 has raised more than $10,000, with any remaining funds set to benefit LGBTQ plus nonprofits. Boise had displayed pride flags during Pride Month for years, but Idaho's 2025 law now limits government property to official government flags. After the city unsuccessfully tried to designate the pride flag as an official city flag, state lawmakers amended the law, leaving Boise unable to continue the tradition. That is really, really crappy. Idaho has great potatoes. They did but that's probably about all they have. Probably beautiful scenery. I was very heartened to see down in Key West, we're having our own, rainbow ban here in the state of Florida. And what people are doing is they are putting rainbows over everything. People's homes off of Duval Street, they put rainbow tape because you're not allowed to paint the fences in Key West. I
Yeah.
don't know, because they're all part of the structure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what people are doing is they're taping their fences. So if somebody wants them to take it off, they take it off.
Peel it off.
Peel it off, and they put it right back on. And there's actually somebody, she's a lesbian woman, I was told, and she is the fence fairy. And she will
Yes.
go in the middle of the night and she will put rainbow stuff on everything. And it's all just tape, so it can be taken down. And I love that, right? Isn't that cool?
Of course, it's a lesbian fairy.
Of course.
It just
So-
shows how inventive we are, you know? I
Yes.
mean, when you tell us no, like you can't paint our sidewalks, well, we're just going to go and paint something else, you know?
Well, like, you know, Miami Beach, they came in the middle of the night and they took away our crosswalk, right? So we took every one of those bricks and made it into something else. Like, that's
Absolutely.
beautiful.
And just to close this out, I want to say that when I was down in Key West yesterday, I was on Petronia Street where the famous crosswalk is, the rainbow crosswalk that in the middle of the night was painted over. I love seeing that the black paint is chipping off and you can kind of see the colors coming through.
I
So
love
I
that.
think that that's, you know, very poetic for where we are right now.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News, let's queer up entertainment. These LGBTQ films and TV series will keep Pride spirit alive beyond Pride Month. Pride Month may end tomorrow, but LGBTQ stories continue on screens with new films and TV series heading to theaters and streaming platforms. Netflix's Heartstopper Forever premieres July 17th, following Charlie, Nick, and their friends as they navigate life after high school. Horror fans can catch teenage sex and death at Camp Miasma.
My asthma.
My asthma. What? Your asthma? No, my asthma. In theater August 7th. Amazon MGM Studios is developing Red, White, and Royal Wedding, the sequel to Red, White, and Royal Blue. Netflix's The Hunting Wives and HBO Max's Heated Rivalry are both returning for second seasons. Though release dates have not been announced yet, you better get that on your DVRs and ready to watch because that's going to be a good amount of good fun. Well, you wouldn't have to put it on DVR because you'll be able to watch it whenever you want.
Right.
I know. I got a lot of summer catching up to do. This is really cool. You know, amplifying queer stories. Sign me up.
And now you got a list.
Every app, we got a whole list now. So we got to mark it out on our calendars. The debt that. What was it? Camp what?
My asthma.
My asthma.
That's
Your
so
asthma,
cute.
my
That is. I wonder what it has to do with asthma. But
I don't think so.
anyway, I'll put it on the list.
You're right. You brought me back to my childhood with those TiVos. You remember you put it on your
Yes.
DVR, right? But now you
Yes.
can just watch it in demand. So anyway, it sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm going to get the dates and I'm going to put it in my Google Calendar and have a little alert. So
I love that. All right. So make sure that you watch everything on that list. LGBTQ 1 Minute News Story. Let's queer up the worldview. Russia jails bar owner and staff in first LGBTQ plus extremism criminal case. A court in Russia's Orenburg region has sentenced a bar owner and 2 employees in the country's first criminal case targeting people accused of belonging to what authorities call the international LGBT movement. The bar owner received 7 years in prison, while the bar manager was sentenced to 6 years and 3 months. The bar's art director received 2 years and 3 months. Prosecutors accused the trio of organizing events that demonstrated, quote, affiliation with individuals of unconventional sexual orientation under the guise of running a nightlife venue. The bar reportedly hosted drag shows. All 3 denied the charges during closed-door proceedings. The verdict has not yet taken effect and can still be appealed. The court also seized 1 million rubles in revenue from the bar and barred all 3 from working in the entertainment and hospitality industries for up to 3 years after their release. So calling LGBTQ people extremists for hosting drag shows isn't justice, it's persecution. So get that right, okay? History has never been kind to governments that criminalize people simply for existing. This is bigger than Russia. It's a warning to all of us of the possibilities that may lie.
Well, it just goes to show why so many people fled the Russian Empire, because they get closed-door hearings. They, have people coming in, arresting them in the middle of the night. You know, they said that they were running an organization of unconventional sexual orientations in the guise of a bar.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the bar is. It's a place for people with unconventional, or what they perceive to be unconventional sexual orientations, to have a safe place. So
Yeah.
they made them sound like they were like an international mafia
Yes.
of people that are colluding with the evil gays of Western Europe and the United States. Like, that's what I read to me. So.
Armed with poppers and a
lube.
fan. You know what I mean?
Right. It's like, what are you going to do with that lube?
No, it's just amazing to see the extreme that you know, the law enforcement will go through just to shut somebody down, you know, to take a blanketed statement like that and then just use it against them. It's just horrible, horrible.
Yeah, well, stay tuned for that. These are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight, and our anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ family.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Don't forget to join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform. Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
And if our community is going to grow, which we need it to, and also to thrive, which we need also, we must be able to tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That's the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your lead anchor, FayWhat, and I thank you for joining us on behalf of my fellow LGBTQ anchors here at Queer News Tonight, including Edward, Otto Zielke, and Brian Bender. We'll see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you a good night.